Okay, so I'm just finishing off my dice. I've just got one more material to put on. I'm going to hit my back button, go into number 6, put a standard material on it, replace that standard material diffuse colour there with my own bitmap, get number 6, show mapping viewport, and my dice is complete. Brilliant. So for this tutorial I'm going to show how to apply some lighting to this. So this object, I need to make a little pile of them, so I'm going to get my move tool up at the top, my position tool, and I'm going to hold shift down and I'm just going to move it and make a copy. I might spin it round so I've not got the same dice looking at the same way, and I might make a little stack of them. The reason why I want to do this is because I want to show that I've got light that bounces through the gaps. So again, I might rotate that one around a little bit. There we go. They've all got ones at the top. If I was being really picky, I would change that. Just make sure they're not overlapping too much. It's the little details that count in this sort of activity. So I've got that one in line. Go back to full screen in here. Perfect. So the way that I like to work by putting lights in the scene, if you're just doing a simple bit of still rendering, so to take images, then I need to create myself a floor. So I'm going to get myself a plane, put it on the floor. I might bring up my material editor and just put something really flat, dull and uninteresting on there, like a light grey. And then when I render this with a teapot with a lightning strike, I get a simple object. Now my design, my picture in Photoshop has actually got these shadows in the actual image, so it already looks partly shadowed. That tends to be what you get in computer games, where you've got not necessarily shadow caused by the engine or the renderer, it's just shadows that's painted onto the object. So you could just hit the little save file there and see if it's a JPEG, but I want some lights in there. So that floor, I'm going to get the scale tool up at the top and just make it much bigger. And over on the right hand side I can see that next to my create tag where the box is, you've got the little light bulb. I'm going to go for standard lights, and I'm going to put an omni light in there. Now before I click it and put it in the scene, I need to turn the shadows on. So I'm going to put that at the bottom. There's also this one for intensity and colour. If you just put a slightly different colour tinge to it, something like a little bit of a different hue, like an orange or a yellow or something like that, I always put it on the floor and get the move tool and just lift it up to wherever you want it to be, which is actually out of shot right now. So I might put it up here. If you're not sure where it is, check all your viewports, zoom out, and you'll be able to see its positioning. So you can move it in all those viewports. So now if I go back to my full screen in this one and render it, I've got that directional, solid, strong light. It's a bit too aggressive, it's like shining a torch in the dark. So what I might do is I might get myself a skylight over here, which is still under the same settings next to the Omni. Skylight, turn the multiplier down a little bit to about 0.8. You don't want it to be too strong. And then I'm just going to put it on the floor there and leave it there. Now that's going to be my final render for this object. So when it goes through, it actually floods it with light, so it's really bright, but it's actually bounced around quite a lot. Now what I might do with that one, because it did look a little bit too bright, is I might just change the floor colour, something a bit darker. If you want to change any of your features to your skylight or your omni light, just select them in your selection list, go to your modifier, and your settings are still there. Let's see what I've got now. It's a little bit more subtle. I've got that sort of atmospheric light bouncing around it, but it's starting to look a little bit better. So these take a little bit of tweaking. I think my omni light might be a little bit strong as well. So if we go back to my omni light, look at intensity, multiply is too high. Let's go back to my sky and turn that up a little bit. And you start to realise you start to build a bit of a balance out of it. There we go. That's looking a little bit more subtle. So once you've got your render looking as neat and tidy as you want, hit the save button. Save yourself a JPEG. You can do a PNG or anything you want to. And save it in your folder. And it's done.